Live from Kansas City. It's the most chaotic and the most fun episode of First Things First of all time. We are here with Chris
Absolutely.
and the belle of the ball. How are you feeling?
He's so happy.
Like a champion,
my man.
like a champion is how I'm feeling. Let's go.
We start today with the champions in the GOAT conversation. Certain media members, or media members singular, have enthusiastically compared Mahomes to Tom Brady, and Tom Curran of NBC Boston would like everyone to chill. Here's what he wrote. What's interesting about the rush to promote Mahomes as the new GOAT is that he just has so far to go, and it's so disrespectful to the body of work that Tom Brady put together. It's not LeBron versus Jordan at all. It's Alex English.
Alex English
versus Bill Russell.
With an amazing group.
Brew, are you okay with this comparison?
You have already butchered the beginning, just like we talked
Well,
about.
it's tricky because it was an Alex English
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
We're in Kansas City, Nick.
Let
Nick
me
can
start
go
here.
first. Yes.
Let me start here, sir.
We got to give him that.
As we rehearsed. So here's the deal. I am actually so glad that Tom Curran came out with the worst sports take of 2023. No, it's
a bad.
It's
a
the worst
take.
Alex English, with
no.
all due respect, but come on.
because the number one thing that I heard, you heard as we made our way through these Chiefs fans is nobody believed in us. Everybody disrespected us.
True.
And I think it might be at this point a little overplayed, but it's clearly what the players believed and what the fans believe.
But you were underdogs in those your last two games. It's fair.
Right. And now you have an otherwise noteworthy writer explaining that the most talented player any of us has ever seen is the equivalent of a volume scorer on a mediocre team. And no disrespect to Alex English, but that's what he was. Great scorer on a mediocre team. And here's the thing. I think everyone knows that the accomplishments, Brady is way ahead. But when we're talking about the best, I think a lot of people feel like, who has played the position at the best?
Sure.
And so here's the thing I want to show you, and then I'll give it to you, Brew. Do we all agree Brady's best year was 2007 with Moss?
Yes.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
let's compare Brady's best year of a 23-year career to Patrick Mahomes' first season as a starter. So Patrick Mahomes walked into the league and at his worst, skill-wise, was equal to Brady's best. That's why we can have this conversation before he has 5, 6, or 7 rings,
Right.
bro.
Well, look, and Curran said that he's the new GOAT. Nobody's saying, you're not even saying, I'm not saying he's the new GOAT. We are just, are you saying he's the GOAT? You're not saying he's the GOAT.
I'm saying he's the best player ever, but he is not the greatest player ever. Those are two different things.
Okay, and I don't even separate them.
Sure.
But I do think he's the best I've ever seen at the position.
Yeah.
But he's got to accomplish more to be the GOAT. But to this point, look, Brady, we could add to your graphic, in 23 years, Brady won 3 MVPs. Mahomes has 2 in 5 years as a starter. Brady was 3 times first-team All-Pro. That means 3 times he was viewed as the best quarterback in the league. Mahomes is already at 2. He's obviously got the 2 Super Bowls, and I don't think he has to win 7 to catch Brady. I think 4 or 5. I'll say 5. But there's no reason to think Mahomes won't play close to 20 years, if not 20 or more, because now you can't hit the quarterback like you used to.
Yeah.
You're protected more than ever. He's driven. And so I think this, to say Alex English, with all due respect to him, because he was a great player, to compare Patrick Mahomes to him is entirely disrespectful. I do think it is a fair Jordan and LeBron debate, even though Brady I don't think is as good as Jordan.
Let me show you just the mass numbers.
Yes.
Because he's so far behind, and they're mind-boggling numbers. 187 wins, almost 6,000 completions. 65,000 yards. We did the math. You can go to the moon and back.
No, you can't.
You can go to
That's
Saturn.
not correct math.
As much as Saturn's rings.
No.
Almost 450 touchdowns. And the titles. The titles, I feel like you've gotten your two so quickly. Those titles are Breeze, Favre, Kurt Warner, and Peyton Manning combined. And those are 5 titles. So it's just, I feel like you think these other titles are a given.
No.
And I know we're like swept up in the intoxication, literally and figuratively, of this day. But
no,
titles is a big deal.
What I think is this. I think, in the most basic terms, the more players that are on the field, the less titles should be the deciding factor in who the best ever is. So, individual sports, golf, tennis, you want to just say count the majors? Okay, seems fair. Basketball, where you play both ways and you only have 4 teammates, you want to heavily weight it to rings? Okay, fair. Football, when there's 22 guys on the field and you can only play one side of the ball, titles matter, and most importantly, it matters, do you play your best in the biggest moments?
I like that take.
But to ignore the context of Tom Brady, half of his career seasons, he had a top 5 defense, and Patrick Mahomes has never had a single season with a top 10 defense. That, to me, ignores the reality of how football works. And unlike the Peyton Manning conversation, Brew, you can't say, well, yeah, he has all these numbers, but in the biggest spots,
right.
He's the opposite. He is the only player in league history that have a postseason clutch resume similar to Mahomes or Brady in Montana. Those are the only guys.
And Mahomes has everything Brady has. The intelligence, the accuracy, all the leadership, all the intangibles that help make Brady great, he has. Plus, he's got some more. He's got the athleticism, the mobility, and even the dynamic plays that you see him make that Brady doesn't make. Obviously, he can't be the GOAT right now, but to say he can't be in the top 3, as you and I have said, top 5, Sandy Koufax had a 12-year career, 6 phenomenal years, and everybody thinks he arguably is the best pitcher. Gale Sayers had a short career, but what he did was so great in that short time. Mahomes already has passed several of the greats, and he's just trailing Montana and Brady.
I know we need to move on, but I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Thank you for that.
When they win again next year,
Yeah.
and let's just say for the sake of it, he also wins another MVP. If that happens, and then, God forbid, he did what Michael Jordan did and said, you know what? I'm done. I'm retiring. If he does that, do you think people will credibly believe he wasn't the best player we've ever seen?
Yeah, that's a good question.
If he starts 6 years, half of them and he wins league MVP, half of them and he wins the Super Bowl. His worst year, they won 12 games, he made a Pro Bowl, and they lost in the conference title game in overtime. Do you think people will say, okay, everybody knows he didn't have the greatest career, but he's the best player?
He had the highest.
I don't think he'd be called the GOAT, though. Some would. But a lot would say he won 3 in 6 years. Brady won 3 and 4 years twice. I still think the longevity would help Brady if Mahomes' career was that short.
If he did the behind-the-back pass, maybe. And also, for our viewers, a little bit of a home field advantage in these arguments. I don't know if we were in the Boston Harbor, this argument would go the same way. All right, we're going to talk about Valentine's Day now. Oh, well, JuJu sent Bradberry. Well, I don't know if he sent it to him, but he posted it. A nice Valentine's Day based on this hold. Here's what it said: I'll hold you when it matters most. Well, A.J. Brown said, hold on a second. First off, congratulations, you deserve it, but this is lame. You're on your way out of the league. That's a lot. He was not. Mahomes.
You also called him TikTok boy.
resurrect your career. I mean, then it just gets ridiculous. And then JuJu fired back. Mahomes weighed in. Other Eagles weighed in. People around the league weighed in. So there was a lot there. Do you think this was fair or foul?
I really like JuJu.
Come on.
Wait. He had an awesome Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's wearing some gorgeous Gucci pants that you'll see up on the stage shortly. I did not like this. And I did not like this because Bradberry handled this like such a pro.
He did.
If Bradberry had said that's a BS call, that the script was in, or if Bradberry had, before the game, been Eli Apple and chirping, then go after him. I thought Bradberry really handled this professionally, and I didn't think JuJu needed to do that. And Mahomes, who has done an amazing job of staying out of everything, being above the fray, it almost pulled him into a fray that he otherwise wouldn't be in because he's such a good teammate. He defended his guy. So I didn't love it.
Yeah, look, I would not have done it. I would not advise any other players to do it, and I think JuJu is silly. All right, remember a couple years ago I said he should start calling himself John Schuster, Smith-Schuster. So he didn't. I didn't stick with it, but I thought he had grown, but he hadn't. So John Smith-Schuster. But I got to be honest, Nick. I'm having trouble getting too riled up about this. I mean, it's a joke. All right, and the guy did do it, and they have been everyone's Burrowhead. They've been the victims of trash talk.
Oh, yeah.
Burrowhead. And even on the other side, when Kelsey calls the mayor of Cincinnati a jabroni, which isn't as bad as it sounds. It sounds like, can you say that on TV? But my point is, this is just another part of this whole narrative. So I wouldn't have done it, but it's not that huge of a deal to me.
Brew also wouldn't have done it because he couldn't have figured out the Photoshop.
Well, I was like, that was a bad Photoshop.
That's very
no,
true.
It's from NFL Media. Just to go back to football, I thought JuJu, it drew some attention to JuJu that was actually good for the Chiefs, that he came here on a one-year deal, and he was really known for his TikToks, and Mike Tomlin was kind of done with him. And all of a sudden this year, 78 catches, 933 yards. He got that play that won the Super Bowl, whether or not you had issues with it or not. I think it will draw more guys to you, like guys used to want to go play with Brady.
I want to say I totally agree with that. I do think one of the reasons, and we'll talk about this later in the show, the Chiefs are going to be so hard to beat is because I think guys who are looking for a ring late in their career or they will do it to come play here. But one thing I want to give JuJu credit for is this. He was interviewed after the Super Bowl by NFL Network, and they were like, hey, you hit your incentive. And he seemed to not know he was going to get $1 million from when. And so the fact that he wasn't focused on himself, I liked. We probably should take a break.
Okay. All right, the party continues. We'll be back with more First Things First after the break.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.